Okay, we are live. We're live.
You have to call your meeting.
Okay. Okay, so I want to call the committee meeting for public utilities. I have Mr. Bass,
I'm here.
Mr. Carson,
Here.
and myself here. We're calling this tonight to talk to Mr. Balish about our aggregates that are coming up. So we need to kind of know what's going on for the city and for the residents. Mr.
Great,
Balish?
thank you.
You're
Let's begin by talking about the city buildings. So, coming up, there's 9 different city buildings. The agreement's up in December. So 8 of those agreements on your handout today can be rolled into the aggregation at actually a lower price at 4.44 cents per kilowatt hour. And that goes through March 2025. 530 Lowville Road is too big for the aggregation limit, so we'll do a separate agreement with that, and they can get 593 for 12 months. Currently, Ohio Edison is about 8.2 cents per kilowatt hour, and in June will be about 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So I think it's an excellent rate for this account, and so I recommend that course of action. So on the summary sheet that I handed out has in the green area at the bottom what I'm proposing. So the 8 accounts will go to from 450 to 444 for 3 months, and then 530 Lowville will go from 4.5 cents to 593 for 12 months there.
Tom, will those 8 accounts always from now on be in the lower bracket?
Well, they'll be in the aggregation,
aggregation
rate until we move them out. So then it's free to opt out. So if we can get a better rate than the aggregation, then we can move them back out. So we can do best of both worlds.
Okay.
With that.
So doing this till March of 25, that's when the rest of the city's up to. Will that put us on schedule? So will our city accounts and our residential accounts all be on the same schedule then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, unless they're moved out, yes.
Except for the Lowville one, correct? That's
Except
its
for
own
that
separate
one,
account.
That
then.
would have a December 2025 end date. So residential, commercial, and then there were already 11 accounts that were already in the aggregation, and then plus these 8. So for a total of 19.
So this is good until March. When are we gonna find out for us the rates we're gonna have for the next 3 or 4 years?
So I'd like to leave an agreement for the city to renew starting in March, so I can leave that, and then that would need council approval, and then we'll do a request for proposal. I'll need the data from Ohio Edison, say in November, and then get some pricing late November and maybe early December, maybe your just first week in December meeting. Have the agreement for this new supplier, because we need to mail very early in January the new letters.
So you don't know what that will be, what that will look like yet?
No, so I'd like to just come back, or just send them in the options.
Okay.
And now, through June is kind of lower priced, but after that it gets expensive. So we may have a short-term price until June 2025, which would be 3 months, and then there'd be a higher increase. That's one way, or just have a 1-year deal or a 2-year term and average it all together. I'm just trying not to have rate shock there. So 444 was the lowest price in the state. I don't know if any price is lower than that.
I did get something, I mean, I just beta, I actually took a picture of it. Just got something in the mail this week. It was for $417 for 12 months fixed plan for gas. This is for natural gas.
Yeah.
So, you know, so, I mean, if we can offer a year, I guess, at something, or,
Yeah, so the natural gas is, three eighty-four or 374 with the senior discount, and that's locked in through
Mhm.
January 2026.
okay,
So that's a better rate than.
Yeah, that's.
I
a
did,
good-
I did hear about that as well, somebody else told me about that today. So that's locked in, so we're set on gas. for
we're set on gas, it's
another
more the
year.
electric, that's,
Yeah, so it's the
Okay.
electric that, we need to be looking at by next month.
okay.
What are you kinda looking for when you start
I'm seeing prices like 8 cents,
more?
8 cents.
Well,
Oh,
that's
8 cents,
Four,
okay.
4.44 to like 8, yeah,
It's almost doubling.
Well,
so it's,
Still cheaper than Ohio Edison.
yeah, Ohio Edison is expected to be about 10, and then next winter, maybe high 8s, 8.8 maybe. We don't have all the numbers yet on Ohio Edison, we have 75% of the numbers, so I have a very good idea where they're gonna be at.
Mm-hmm.
So 8 sounds high, but it is a 20% discount from the local utility. So we'll look at those options, and what we can do. Hopefully the market will soften up or something by then.
So what you are going to, do the city and then put them on the same as,
Well, we need to pass a resolution hiring Tom again first. That's the
oh,
first thing we have to do.
okay,
okay. Is it in that package?
No, he's
No,
just,
I have,
he's just giving it to us.
yeah,
I mean, we got a little time.
for us.
I thought it was in here.
so is Dallas
No,
coming?
we don't have legislation for that tonight.
No, I thought it was included.
Is Dallas coming?
No, it's not. So we won't have this.
Oh, wait,
Dallas
last time we
isn't
did it
coming
was.
though either?
I thought it was,
Dallas.
yeah.
Wasn't it?
It's
We
in
did.
the
Oh,
file.
Yeah.
That's what this year.
Yeah, it's
So-
right here.
So, yeah,
Yeah, it's
you
in
may-
there.
We
Yeah, it's
we
in the
might have
file.
did it
This
for
version's
the
signed.
city, the big deal,
Okay.
we can't,
Can
it's
I-
on a different schedule.
Cause I can't, we could do the resolution.
Just can't have
Yeah, we did
it
this for
finance me, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dallas, when I talked to
Oh,
him, he
yeah,
said we
yeah,
can't
before
have him speak on the
24,
utilities,
yeah.
cause it's a
We
public
negotiated
utility.
this price.
Well, yeah, for
last-
sure.
Let me see what.
Last year or the year
It
before?
might have been the year
I thought it
before.
was, when did we negotiate these prices here at 4.4?
Was that 2 years?
That was,
How long
it was
was
a
the agreement?
3-year term, but we did it a whole year in advance.
Yeah.
So it was like
22,
spring of 2021.
21?
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, in order to get that, we were still in the pandemic, and I wanted to lock that in, because
Yeah.
the pricing was
Yeah.
so good.
Now, you think if we're able to do that, I mean, obviously not this price, but at the 8.0 at 8.8.0, we can be able to do that again if all possible? Lock it in for 3 years?
I'll have to check where 3 years.
But yeah,
are
is it
at.
even advisable to do that?
Yeah, so when I get all the bids, I think we'll look at all that. And I think
Okay.
it'll be obvious what to do once we
Okay.
get all the bids.
Is there a chance of it all going back down?
Yeah, between, say, now and next month.
Right.
A little bit, but most of the cost for electric is already set.
Okay,
There's only small parts of it that are still variable than that, so big portions of the costs are already set, yeah.
okay.
So I think Megan will put together a resolution under emergency for next week, so we can get this done.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
bring it out in caucus,
Yeah, that's okay.
add it to the agenda
So we're still set at 444
till next year, yeah.
till next year?
Till March, right?
Yep.
March.
Tomorrow.
Okay, yep, alright.
And Tom, what would be good for you to meet with us again so we can get going on? Cause he said by November,
Yeah,
December, we should,
yeah, if the agreement's passed next week, then I'll I'll get the data from Ohio Edison, the usage data, and then send out a request for proposal, and that takes like 2 weeks, so it could be another month, so mid-November
Okay.
would be good.
Okay.
Thank you.
yeah, I mean, we could,
Yeah,
you
thanks,
wanna
Tom.
pick a date?
Thank you, Tom, very much.
Appreciate it.
You wanna pick you wanna pick a date now? That would work?
Sure.
Because if we go a committee meeting, You guys prefer a committee meeting for that, right? For him to,
Yeah, cause if there's legislation, we can bring it out then.
November 20th,
November 20th?
well, November, that's,
Is that,
it's like right around Thanksgiving. I mean, do you wanna do it then? Or you wanna
Cedar
go like
3rd.
the sixth?
it's either the 6th or 20th.
Yeah, the
Yeah, this is
20th.
Thanksgiving,
on the
20th,
20th.
you're good? Okay, let's do the 20th then.
Alright,
Okay. I'll say November 20th, for that.
November 20th, next committee meeting.
Lori, do you wanna let Megan know? Do you wanna let Megan know?
Sure, I can let Megan know then.
alright, I'll have everything prepared.
Thanks for
Okay.
coming,
Thanks,
thank
Tom.
you very
Tom.
much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, I'd like to call, adjourn some.
No,
Oh, we're doing, I'm sorry.
Well, it's
but
up
are
to
you gonna have
This
them
is
under
up
your
guys.
committee?
It's up to
Could have them
you.
under either, public utilities is open,
Sure.
fine with me.
Okay. Okay,
So I'm back on?
you're on.
Okay. I don't know how you want me to sit at the table, stand up?
You could sit
Sit over here, wherever you want.
Okay, what?
The owl will pick
Right
you
there.
up, so wherever you're at, it'll follow your voice.
Oh, that's right, you got that out, yeah, that's right. We had looked at that, I think I mentioned it in there, for our church, and it seems pretty neat, but we never pulled the trigger, so, I wanted to say hi to the people watching. So, thank you for having me again, and so, this will be an informal conversation, but I want to go into a little more detail. So, if you go back, 35 years ago, or maybe more than that, I joined AT&T, and before that, I was even with IBM. And I've been around for a lot of different technology advancements. I retired in 2019, worked for Eastgate for 3.5 years as a broadband coordinator. And as I mentioned to you, I think last time, I worked with a lot of different providers and trying to get them to come to this area. I've been working with a company called Lumos for about 16 months to get them to come to the area. And I believe that everybody in our community ought to have choices. You may like the internet company you have now, you may not, maybe you don't even have an internet company, but I believe if I can give you 3 choices, and that's what we try to do at Eastgate, you have better prices and better service, reliability. And I was meeting with these folks from North Carolina with a funny accent, and after about 16 months, they convinced me to come work for them. So I'm doing that right now, and I'm talking here on behalf of Lumos. I'm an employee of Lumos. If you go back when COVID hit, I think we realized what the problem was with lack of internet and how important internet was, whether it was for telehealth, whether it was for schools. Kids were going to McDonald's. In fact, I saw a girl today working at Panera last night trying to get internet because she didn't have it at home. And that's not right. In our country, everybody ought to have internet. So what are we doing as a country? Well, we have different providers that are out there in certain spots, but we really need more, especially in Ohio, more options when it comes to the more advanced, and I'm not talking DSL or cable, I'm talking about fiber. So the company called Lumos, they go back about 125 years. They were 2 phone companies, 2 family owned that came together, and over time did a lot of different things, and they really started focusing on broadband or fiber. And they're owned by a private equity company. That means that they use their own money. They're not looking for handouts. I'm not here asking for any money. But they're very aggressive in the sense that they want to go out and build as many internet passes. What I mean by that is if I go out, I'm trying to sell internet, but really I'm a construction company trying to build internet through neighborhoods. My belief is that if I have that option, make it available to you, you'll buy it. If I make it available to you, you'll buy it. But without making it available to you, you can't buy it. So our focus is really on building the network. We do have big plans. I mean, we're in 3 states right now, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. We announced back in July, $230 million investment in Mahoney County, in Trumbull County, Mahoney Valley. And I got a thing here to show you where we're looking. But what we're doing now is we're going out and talking to communities. I talked to the mayor 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and Bob too, because one of the things we want to do is start communicating that we're coming. As somebody who's on the Canfield City Planning and Zoning Commission, I don't like to find out about problems from a constituent. I want to know about from the company or the person causing the problem, or let's find out, let's talk. So our belief at Lumos is to go out and talk to people ahead of time. Chances are you would not see a contractor digging in the ground here for Lumos probably for at least 4 months. maybe a little bit longer, not too much longer, but it's not gonna be tomorrow. And the reason for that is it takes us a lot of time to plan this stuff out. Talking to Bob, understand what the permitting process is, we wanna make sure, because majority of the time we go into a community, the community's not used to having this volume of permit requests come through. So what I like to do is go in, tell you it's coming, and then we can sit down and say, would you like one permit at a time? Do you want one every week? Do you wanna stack them? How do you want them? Do you want them for one street or entire neighborhood, the whole project, those kind of things? Because we're really here for the long haul. You know, from my AT&T days, it always was frustrating to me that we would try to get customers to sign up after we just ticked them off. You know, nobody complains about cable company and TV companies like their customers, right?
Sure.
And as much as we try to do the good things, we honestly were trying to do the best thing we could for our customers, mistakes happen. But then we didn't work quickly at fixing those mistakes, and that's what Lumos did. And so when those guys asked me to come on board, honestly, I said, well, let's play this out, let's see how it works. Because I have a reputation in town with Eastgate. I think people trust me. I'm in here for the long haul. You know, I raised 4 boys from Canfield. My wife and I still live here. We do have a home in Florida, and if it keeps getting colder, you may see me more in Florida than here, but I plan to be here for a while. So I'm here advocating on behalf of them, but also just to say, we've got to get this community ahead of the curve. You know, you talk about people leaving. I have 4 boys too. I'll graduate from high school too, live in Ohio, one in Columbus, and one, he lives at home, he's a police officer. He's gonna be married, he got engaged, he's getting married, they just bought a house, he's getting engaged. He got engaged, he's gonna be married next August. The other 2 boys aren't coming back. They're in Tennessee and Milwaukee. And, you know, the Chamber's working hard, Eastgate's working hard to get people to come back or at least stay here. And one of the things that we see is, one of the things that people want is a good, strong broadband connection. If you can get fiber, that really makes it much easier. If you don't have fiber, don't have a decent internet, they're not coming here. You know, and the fiber survey that I saw was done in 2023, I haven't mentioned to you or not, last time, is housing values, just by having it available, go up between 3.5% and 5%, housing values. So you think about that. So what do we need to do as a community? We need to come together, as a region, come together, and that's what Eastgate started to do, is kind of focus in on working together as a region and attracting companies to come in private sector. There's a ton of money coming down from federal government. It may be here in a year or two. It was approved by the government in 2021. It still don't have any shovels in the ground. But we are a privately held company, and we're moving forward. We're not looking for any government funding because we believe we can get a good head start, and we've seen good success where we've been. So what does that all mean to you, right? It means, one, there's gonna be some disruption. I know you've had some issues in the past with a contractor. So there will be some of that, because we're gonna be coming in here pretty quickly. We built, to give you an idea from our company standpoint, we are our first market outside of South Carolina, Virginia, North Carolina was Ohio. We announced Ohio. First place in Ohio is here in the Valley. I'm gonna be issuing a release maybe just next week for another county slightly west of us, and then another month and a half slightly south of them, and probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other counties in Ohio within the next couple months. So we're making Ohio a big part of it. The good news is Ohio's gonna be getting a lot of broadband and fiber from Lumos. The bad news is, the reason we're coming is there's not a lot of fiber here, frankly. You know. So what does it mean to you? It means there's gonna be some disruption, but I think it's more short term, and long term you can benefit and get your residents. What I'm asking you to do is to help us identify the area. So I've got maps here, and these are I gotta take these back with me because it's somewhat confidential, but you can take a look at that. They're both the same. Like they just have, one has highways on it. But we are starting in the New Middletown area, and we're working up, going through Boardman, Poland, going to Youngstown, and to Warren, up in Champion. And then we're gonna branch out to Hubbard, that area, and then go to the west. It'll probably be about, I'm thinking 36 to 42 months by the time it's all done. So it's really pretty quick for a broadband project. But what I'd like you to do is, we have some people that would be working closely with Bob. You know, Troy Newton is a guy, and he's gonna be talking about the permitting process. But if there's areas in the city that you know have a problem with lack of internet, let us know. Cause we have a build project that we're doing, we're mapping it out. If there's areas that you know is a problem, if you let me know, we can check to make sure we're gonna cover that area. You know, cause what I'd rather do is I'd rather know now rather than be 2 blocks away and miss an area that really needs it. Generally speaking, we cover most of the area, but not necessarily all the city. If you have a city area that has 2 or 3 or 4 options with fiber already, we'd probably bypass that. But I don't think that's the case here in Struthers. And we're really not going after businesses. You know, we're really strictly focused on the residential area. So help with permitting, and Bob and I and the mayor met the other day, so we got that process. But there's areas that you know that need internet. And then I would ask, if you get questions about it, if you know somebody that is, let's say, very interested in broadband, and that's like, almost like a champion about broadband, they wanna know about, give them my number, and we can get in touch with them, cause the most successful broadband projects that I've been involved with, they are due to a community champion, someone supporting it, whether it's an elected official or a business leader, you know, and the ones that fail are the ones that have no support. And I tell you, frankly, if you like who you have now, the internet, that's the company, that's fine. But I will tell you, more than likely, when I come into town, within 120 days, prices will go down. And competition usually drives services up.
Sure.
So from a resident standpoint, what they're gonna see, typically about 30 days prior to us starting construction, they're gonna get something in the mail saying we're coming. And then there's different things, there's door hangers that they're gonna get, there's a lawn chart, tell them we're coming. Every one of those has an 800 number on it, and that 800 number then gives them an opportunity to call and talk to Lumos rather than call and talk to the city. Last thing I wanna do is have city members call me asking what's going on rather than have residents call me, you know? I mean, if you guys want, you can call, I'm not trying to hide anything, but
Your construction,
yes.
minimally invasive, you guys run a mole, I assume, and just.
Yes, we're gonna try to do 70 to 80% underground.
Okay.
With some aerial. Frankly, the aerial takes a little bit longer in the permitting process with the electric company. We're in the process of working out a structured access agreement there. But we would prefer to go underground. Yeah, and we've got the sophisticated LiDAR equipment our engineers do, where they can identify that. Because one of the problems we typically run into is the locates. I don't know, you guys do your locates, I don't remember. Like who tells where puts the little for water, gas?
We only locate our sanitary and.
Yeah, you would use call before you did.
Okay, just 811?
Yeah.
Oops, okay. Cause one of the problems you have is if it's not located properly, in this area, believe it or not, this area has a lot of locates that are not done accurately, you know? And you know, we'll talk with Bob, whether you, how far down do you wanna go, how far away from water, those kind of things, but, that's something to the residents know what's going on. And then we do have what we call street sheets, where we can send that out either weekly, I think it may be every other week, list the streets that we're working on. So you know ahead of time, hey, they're gonna be here, all our contractors, they are contractors, but they will be logoed, say contractor of Lumos, and they say on their back too, on their safety vest.
That was my next question, so your restoration is usually subbed out, all
Well,
of those things?
yeah, it's all subbed out, right?
The mole subbed out,
Yes.
everything? Okay.
Yes, so we have the vice president, senior vice president, all the way down to the construction manager is Lumos, and then a lot of the foremen are subbed out, yes,
Okay.
yeah. And these companies we've worked with, before, and we're pretty strict on that, you know,
Which
if they
is
have a
good.
problem, we're gonna get rid of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that with another part of town where some contractors in my previous job at Eastgate doing some shoddy workmanship, and that caused some major
Yeah,
problems.
we always try to kinda keep an eye on that, as far
Yes.
as the work that's getting put back
Yes,
should be better than it was when you tore it up.
exactly. So there was an incident, I don't think I mentioned this to you, we had a case in North Carolina, and a lady had some special 10-year-old petunias, and they dug them up, did I tell you the story? And, they didn't realize how important they were, and so after they restored everything, they dug up the petunias, they went to to Lowe's or Home Depot, and they bought new petunias to set them out. It wasn't the same, they came from her father and the bulbs and everything else, it was a mess, so one thing we like to do is know ahead of time, if you've got special plants or special petunias, let us know about it. Because, and it makes sense, that's the thing, to me, I never said why companies wouldn't wanna do that. If I'm building outside your front yard, I want you to buy my service. If I dig up your yard and do a crappy job, you're not gonna buy my service, so. Yeah,
You know, even so more than that, it's tougher when you have a lot of that work subbed out and people don't get in touch with the homeowner. You know, if
Mhm.
we would ask that your company, if you're gonna be tearing up somebody's driveway, they're notified about it so they can make arrangements to park in the street.
so
Or, you
normally,
know.
normally what happens, and there could be exceptions where it doesn't happen, that's why, but normally they should get notified by the mail, by the door hanger, and by the lawn jar. I think that's it, I think those three. And if they don't, call me, but
Sure.
they should. And we're going pretty fast. If you look at it from a company standpoint, we have, we were 75,000 passes 2 years ago, 115,000, we 175 passes company-wide. And we'll be 400,000 next year and then 900,000. We have a goal because we are doing, there's a joint venture, hasn't been approved yet, with T-Mobile to do a lot of work for them. And our commitment is by 2028 to have 3.5 million passes in the country. So we're moving very fast. We've got a good system in place though, but it's critical that we stay on top of things.
Very good.
So,
We definitely need a little competition in the internet
yes.
department here.
Well, it's
for sure.
amazing with the way things are going. So, I mean, and we talked about the other day with streaming, you know, with Teams meetings or Zoom meetings now, it's not just the speed down that you need the speed up has to be just as fast. And that's what fiber is. You know, fiber is the same speed up and down. There's something called latency. It's much better with fiber. What that means is it works better when I'm doing two-way communication, whether it's gaming, it's not just gaming, if I'm doing gaming, if I got a virtual medical call with the Cleveland Clinic, going back and forth, those kind of things. It's really where we're going, you know, and this is the basically the network of the future. It really is. So,
What's the average price?
average price, we offer 500 meg, 1 gig, 2 gig, 5 gig, and 8 gig. As of right now, we offer different pricing based on if it's a new market, we offer some incentives, you get a gift card, those kind of things, but generally I think it's $80 for the 1 gig. Yeah.
So one of the things we liked when we spoke, was that we've had a couple fiber optic companies come through,
Mhm.
and the residents would call and say, well, what are we getting out of this? What are we getting out of this? And we're like, they're just coming through, like going to the businesses. This is the first time we've had somebody that's actually gonna be a benefit to the residents, to give
That's what I was gonna ask, wasn't it Comcast that,
Comcast, we had Team Official come through with
Zayo,
Zayo.
so those weren't anything
those
for the
were just
residents?
fiber passing through the city. This is neighborhood, could be a benefit to our residents.
So the more communication we
Yeah.
can give our residents, the better.
Yeah, and you'll see me more, I can come and talk to any councilman you want, if you wanna even do like a town hall meeting, I've done that in the past. I can go to, go to a neighborhood association.
What are they, so this is to hook up onto it, they don't have to run a wire from anything, do they?
They will need a wire, so we come in and we run the fiber down the street.
Right.
And then every other house, we have a little box in the ground, it's flush mounted.
Like a valve box, the same way.
So that's where you would hook up to. It's
Yeah,
hook
so
up
what
box.
happens is, we don't hook up directly to the house until they place an order, but they place an order, then what we'll do is we'll connect it from that box flush mounted to their house.
Okay.
Yeah. And the idea is we pre-wire for the most part, but we don't go over to the house,
Now, do you do that underground as well?
Yes,
Going to the house?
yes,
And does the homeowner cover that cost?
there's no, yeah, we
That's
we
involved.
cover the cost, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Good.
So, and there's aerial, we can do aerial, we prefer underground just because we believe it's more accident proof.
Sure.
But, the one thing too, people, and this is a soft spot I think that some people have to understand. A lot of people you guys probably do, cause you deal with utilities all the time, this whole concept of right of way, people don't understand that this first 10 yards off the street in their property is not always their property.
Right.
You know, they got the right of way, and so we have to be sure that, we take care of it, you know, you got a right of way, we have the right to be there, they have a right to manage it somehow. More importantly, the city has a right to manage it, and we wanna make sure we leave it better, if not, at least as good as it was when we left. Nobody likes something dug up, you know?
Yeah.
Unless it's put back, and,
Now-
well, the other thing too, it just, if there's, and I think I talked to Bob, if you have projects coming down the road, 6 months, a year from now, street projects, putting new sewer pipes, something like that, let us know about it, cause we can adjust our schedule. Ideally, if you're gonna be digging up the road, we'd like to go in before,
Sure,
or when the trench is open.
yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask how much asphalt and things like that you guys actually have to cross, but
I don't know yet,
probably just at certain points.
yeah,
Most of the time I see you guys, you're in front yards,
yes,
from spot to spot.
yes, and that's something we can sit down, if you wanna know exactly, Troy can go over that with you, the detailed plan.
No, my concern would be that just making sure again that our, ordinances are followed as far as like here, if you break open a road, you have to go to the center line.
Okay, well, that would
you
be
know.
something good to know for
Sure.
us, yeah. So,
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I
thanks for having
appreciate
me.
you.
Yep. Thank
Three
you.
times in what, 3 weeks or 4 weeks?
Yeah. Anything else for Steve, anybody?
Well, you got my card.
We got your card.
I was telling somebody I get paid by the cards.
By
I
the
mean,
cards.
yeah, I passed more out. But we have a lot of things going on. It's actually an exciting time, and you know, part of me, part of the reason I left Eastgate, and I like it there. Jim Kennick's a great guy. Still, I had a contract, and this is something though I get to see the start, the middle, and the end, and I like that. So I'm excited about that.
Well, very nice having you, nice.
Steve, I actually got one other question for you.
Sure.
When you say that this is a project that takes around 42 months.
We planned was 36 to 42 for the
Okay.
whole 2 counties.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, as you're coming through, if you're here for 2 weeks,
Mhm.
when you tear up an area, do you guys go through, do the whole area, then a restoration crew comes back through?
No.
Or is it, as you're done with an area, it's getting fixed
Yes,
immediately?
good question. So think of it this way, is we don't do this as like in serial mode, we do it in parallel mode. So we may have, we will have multiple crews working at the same time.
Sure.
And, so we get through an area, let's say there's 300 or 400 homes. If they're ready to go, if they're ready for light to go through that, we wanna turn them on. So we wanna store everything, start selling into that.
Okay.
So people ideally, if you look at the map, people in the Springfield Township area will have service before we're doing anything in, say, Youngstown.
Okay.
That may not be true, cause we got stuff in Youngstown, we start simultaneously, but there'll be pockets that we haven't dug yet, where other people will actually have service.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Alright,
Good to know.
good questions.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, well, if you think of something, you got my card.
I appreciate it.
And I like hard questions too. These
No,
are
that's
all
okay.
hard. Come on.
I'm in the construction field, so sometimes I see things from
that's
a
good.
different point of view, that's all.
That's good, and that's important for us to understand, because, I wanna sign people up, and if people are unhappy with it, they don't buy my service,
I get
and
it,
nobody wins.
I get it. The more competition we have here though, the always the better.
Yes, I think so.
I agree.
Okay, now a motion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Alright, thank you guys.
Got a motion to make, to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting
So that
adjourned.
was between you and the end of the meeting?
Well, no, we got,
We got
Oh,
one
you're-
more.
Oh.
You're the end of my
Oh,
meeting.
Yes. All right, I'd like to call this finance and legislation meeting to order. Mr. Burnside.
Here.
Mr. Ballack is not here. We have 4 pieces of legislation tonight. I'm just gonna start going through them. First one, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Struthers to submit an application to participate in the Ohio Department of Natural Resources Division of Parks and Watercraft Navigational Aids Grant, requesting and declaring an emergency. Motion to bring it out.
Motion to bring it out.
Well, let me start.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
We're still doing everything as an emergency.
these particular ones, there's a deadline on the application, and that's why we have to pass an emergency. the deadline is like 2 days after the next council meeting on 2 of these. So,
The
and
grants,
unfortunately, we don't get the grant information until, you know what I'm saying, it's not something we know a month and a half. in
I would
advance.
say the grants, it's probably more acceptable on than anything else, cause there's always deadlines attributed with them, but a lot of the other stuff we probably should
Yeah.
ask ourselves if,
I think
Yeah,
we
'cause
start,
what it
let's
should
start
be.
looking at
We
that
get,
again.
we get jolted every audit on that,
Yeah,
Yeah,
almost every year,
right,
yeah, there's no reason we can't go for 3 readings for.
certain things, you're right.
I agree. Good job, Laura. A resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Struthers to submit an application to participate in the Eastgate Appalachian Regional Commission FY 25 grant, program and declaring an emergency. Motion to bring it out.
Motion to bring it out.
Next one, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Struthers to submit an application to participate in the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency Water Pollution Control Loan Fund and declaring an emergency. Need a motion to bring it out.
Motion to bring it out.
I'll grab it off you at the end. Thanks, Paul. Alright, last one, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city of Struthers to enter into an agreement with Buckeye Energy Brokers, Inc. for the aggregation, consulting services, and any other required services related to electricity, utility, deregulation, ratifying any such services therefore performed, and declaring an emergency. Need a motion to bring it out.
Motion to bring it out.
Second. That's it for legislation. What else you got for me? You got something, big dog.
No.
Mike, anything?
Nope.
Bob?
No.
Thank you.
Couple things to talk over with Bob.
Rick, anything?
I'm good as for now.
No.
Thank you.
Still didn't look
Got
at
it,
it.
Bob?
I'll look at it tonight on my way home.
Do you have anything for us?
the garage is coming down.
I hope it's coming down more than what they did.
So here's what happened, Billy went out and worked Saturday. He stopped and he found the owner of 33 cells, which was an issue last time we had a meeting. The building, that cell, 33 cells has been sold. It's not even on the auditor's website
Is
yet.
that the one that you cut the front grass and
Yeah,
not the back?
in the back, so that's been
Did you say
sold.
there's no driveway there? Or there's no access to the
No
back?
access to it. But Billy does have the contact information for the new buyer, and they're planning on fixing it up. It's a construction company that fits houses.
But the one that's been working here?
I'm not real
There's been
sure
one
what it
that's
was.
actually been, honestly, I could tell they're from out of town. I've seen them do 3 or 4. They, great job.
And then, on his way back from, talking to the owner of the ex-owner of 33 cells, he stopped at Center Street and caught him, he was actually working on the garage as Billy stopped and talked.
I saw a couple
And he
trucks
told me
there.
he has 15 days, or 14 days, he told me.
Okay.
I talked to John today about Elmwood.
The lock. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could cut it.
No, we have to send proper notification, and after we do all that, then we can access the back.
Okay.
The buildings downtown. The gray building. Is there a timeline on how that building can look like that down there? I mean, it's got holes in the wall. I mean, it looks terrible.
So, regulations on a building that's under renovation are gonna be very hard to enforce. I know it looks like that, but if he claims it's, being repaired or remodeled, it's
I-
kinda hard for us to enforce,
I would agree.
property code violations.
I would agree unless you, there's timeline specific.
So, honestly, he has to have building permits, as long as the building permits are valid and active, then he's remodeling, and there's not much we can do. Okay? Now, I'm just being honest with you, it's gonna be unsightly, but he says, I'm fixing it up, it's the same as, a person putting up siding on their house, and they do half of it, and they stop.
Yeah,
At some point, as long as you still got
Right.
that building permit, and it's still active.
Is this gonna continue on
because the
to
building permit is through the county, it's not through the city. So you're still gonna have to follow city regulations, and we ran into this, you remember the guy on Broad Street? Mike, this was yours, right?
Absolutely, I had to go to court.
Because the guy was there for 2 years.
Very,
That was there for
That
years,
house is-
though.
that house been there for 30 years anyway.
Yeah, I know that's been very,
And I went to court over that guy, and he called me all kinds of names. The fact is, the house still ain't done.
yeah.
I remember that was your thing. So I'm gonna come at this from kind of both angles real quick. I feel like there is something you could do on a timeline end of giving deadlines to finish certain things, I would say, that are unsightly. However, we all need to take into consideration the fact of how bad those buildings looked for how long. Now somebody is trying to move forward on them. I'm not saying that we should just let anything go and whatever happens, happens. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that we should probably recognize somebody is putting money in down there. And I'm not saying help them, but we certainly shouldn't be against
No,
them.
I'm not against it, but I'm just saying that the
No.
gray building on the corner looks worse than it ever did.
We should make sure that they are continuing to move forward. I completely agree. However, we need to do, but we do need to realize at some point that
So the gray
this is a big undertaking.
building,
Even though they may have not thought it was that big of an undertaking, it is.
So how long are we gonna let them go there?
Well, I think that somebody, honestly, if you plan on pushing them along further, somebody needs to do what I said from the start and put in timelines on this. Like, we can only let the front of this building stay completely open for so long. We can only let, these certain items go by for so long. But if we're not gonna say, hey, this has been tore open for 6 months, we're gonna give you 6 months to put the front back on or something like that, or else we're gonna have to start citing it for being unsightly or being unsafe.
I'm just,
I get that.
I'm just tired of driving through there. I do it every day more than once,
I agree.
and it looks like a
Yes.
bomb site.
I agree.
It looks like a war zone downtown that was bombed.
But in order, and again, I think it's taken a lot longer than anybody anticipated.
Sure.
Us for sure, them for sure, right? But had they not started to do this, it would have always looked like it did.
And it,
So now it's gonna take us a little bit of time to get to the next.
If the city didn't help them get the $200,000, where would we be?
I'm not disagreeing with that point. I'm just saying, as far
But
as
they
right
neglect to say that the city helped them get that money.
now at this point, I think I'm just looking out for what is best to get the job done, get the city back in order.
2 years?
And I think somewhere along the line, but like 6 months ago, we could have came up with a solution and said, hey, this has been tore up for a year.
We've been
And-
talking about it for 6
Correct.
months.
And no timeline was ever put in place to put pressure on them or to try to keep this moving forward. We didn't do that. Whether it was us or whether it was the
I want
administration.
to tell you, a lot of the things that you're talking about, vacant buildings, the restoration of vacant buildings, and a plan to do with vacant buildings, are all covered in a vacant building ordinance that I've been reading from other communities. So if you want to put together a vacant building ordinance, and it's all covered in there, how long you have to restore it, how long, you know what I'm saying? When you build a vacant
We have
building
to make
ordinance,
legislation.
we would have to pass an ordinance. Okay, 'cause I had
Then their grandfather did it the day we start that. They would have to here do it after that.
Well, if you pass a vacant building ordinance, it doesn't automatically, it doesn't automatically implement. It just sets up a timeline. You have to register your vacant building. And if it's going to be renovated, what is the time? Then they have to give you a deadline, when they're going to have it done, things like that. So it all depends on how we write the ordinance, because there are different texts.
Do we have to put in proof of money to finish the job in that ordinance?
No, you just, they we have two samples right now, and I'm trying to work on something that something like that, we won't probably want to pass it on to.
Cause like Jerry up on Broad Street, that house been that way for 30 years. He's still ain't done. Right next to, Second one, slide. That house still ain't done.
But you make a plan about that and stuff. They I came on council, I remember that.
I mean, come on.
They had all the, everything else up, yeah.
That's another instance where the city has given them a lot of leeway because they were doing the work themselves.
Sure.
But they're taking.
Well, again, I think if we had deadlines in place, we'd be able to take advantage, right? Because then it would be, listen, 6 months this didn't get done, you knew you had 6 months to complete it, here's the steps we need now. And we need to know how to do it, you know, that's all. Anything else? You actually can't do that at all, correct? It's on the street? It's on the street, not attached to a vehicle, you can't do like that at all. Not even for a night. I think if I remember the ordinance, it applies, there is, you're doing work, construction on at that time. The only reason I'm saying that is you register any of those items through the BMV,
The trailer, yeah.
so a trailer's considered
I
a
thought
we did-
vehicle,
And the boat's registered
I
through
thought
the.
we did something
BMV too, so you would have to
Department of-
consider them vehicles,
Yeah, that's a
Front
water
yard
vehicle.
parking.
yes.
Front yard parking,
It doesn't-
regardless whether it's.
Right,
Automotive vehicle, a
Or a
watercraft,
right.
Yep.
Okay.
okay. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.